Hi, Grace. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's Mom and Dad, and we're here to tell you the story of your birth.
Wish we could be with you.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about this is that you'll have this forever.
Till you erase
Till you erase it. Okay, so step one in the baby story is we decided to stop preventing. And so Dad and I went on an amazing trip to Italy, and
Very romantic place.
very romantic. Rome, Florence, Venice,
Pisa.
and then back to Rome, Milan,
We flew out of Venice.
Venice. Right. So it was lovely. And we came home with you in my belly, which was awesome. And so pregnancy, 9 months, 40 weeks later, which is actually more like 10 months. I just want credit for that full 10 months. We were getting close to the due date, and because of how tough my pregnancy was with Lucas and then I went over 2 weeks with him, we convinced Dr. Linda, our midwife, Linda French, to induce on the day that you were due, right? Was it
Yeah,
that
I think
day?
so.
So
Which was February 7th.
February 7th, right. So we went into the doctor's office and they induced with just a little tablet kind of thing. And Dad and I sat around for 4 hours playing cribbage and listening to music and just chilling out. And nothing happened. Grandma Erway had come over to watch Lucas, so he was at home at the Arborcrest house with Grandma, and they were hanging out, chilling. And so Dr. Linda said, you know, we can try it again tomorrow if you want to, but tomorrow's not a really good day for me, because she was going to induce twins in Plainwell. And so we said, okay, well, let's try it on the 9th, come back 2 days later. And so this was probably 4 or 5 o'clock at night when we went home from the hospital. And when we got there, Grandma and Lucas were hanging out, and we just kind of chilled out and then went to bed. And then at about 2 in the morning, I woke up and started having contractions. And they were quite a ways apart. Nothing urgent, but definitely contractions. So we went into the hospital.
Around 5 a.m.?
Yep, 5 or 6 or something like that. 5, yep. And they called Linda, but Linda kind of stayed home and waited for things to progress a little bit. And so at 7 a.m., Linda came into the hospital to check me, and she said, not a lot of progress. They put me in a bathtub, and the contractions stopped. And so she said, again, today's not a great day for me, so why don't you just head on home, and we'll do this all over again tomorrow, since how the contractions had stopped. So we went home, and as we were driving home, contractions kind of started up again. By the time we got home, I was really feeling like they were coming pretty regularly. And so Dad put me in the bathtub, and for some reason there was no hot water.
I forgot about that.
Remember that? Like, it was freezing cold, and
Maybe Grandma had given Lucas a long
yeah,
bath.
I don't know. So I was like really starting to labor in a cold tub, and Grandma said, I think I'm just going to take Lucas to my house. And so she took Lucas and headed out. And I got out of the tub and got into the bed, and, I'm just kind of laying around in a t-shirt and underwear, and the contractions are starting to come pretty hard and pretty consistently.
I was writing all this down and calculating, and I'm like, this
drawing a graph.
Like
it's increasing.
It seems like it's time. But we were kind of worried because we had already gone in once, and they sent us home. So.
And at one point I went into the bathroom and I was just standing there holding the towel rod, which was mortared into the wall with the ceramic tile. And I wasn't pulling on it, I was just holding it. And the only thing Dad could think of was, if she pulls that off the wall, how am I gonna get that back up there? That was what he cared about in that moment.
That's all I cared about.
So we continued just for a little bit longer, and Dad like finally said, it's time to get in the car. We got to go. And at this point, the contractions were coming so fast, I couldn't actually get my pants on. And so Dad just grabbed a bathrobe and wrapped
So we're
me
going.
and threw me in the car, literally, almost. What kind of pushed me in the car. So we took off in the car and headed to the hospital. And I just remember it was so sunny. There was snow everywhere and the bright, bright blue skies, like not a cloud in the sky.
Blinding.
And it was blinding light. Yes. So we got to the hospital and pulled up outside of the OBGYN space, the birthing center. And the nurses kind of met us near the door, and she said something to Dad about, well, she sure looks like she's in labor this time, because this is now our third time at the hospital. So that was about noon. So they called Linda, who was, again, up in Plainwell.
I was just going to say, we also, I think, called your mom and dad
Yes.
about that time. Because Grandma was supposed to be in the delivery room.
Right,
So.
right. And so Linda came speeding down from Plainwell, and when she got there, she said that she flew by a state cop who knows her car, so they just let her go because they knew that she was obviously in a hurry. And so Linda got there, and Dad at one point asked the nurses if my cervix was dilated, and one of the nurses said, "What cervix?" So as soon as we got to the hospital, I was ready to go. So Linda walked in and she said, "Okay." And I said, "I feel like I want to push." And she said, "Why don't you go ahead and push then?" I pushed a couple of times and out you came. And you came out crying, kind of telling the world, "I'm here. I want my share." And Dad cut the cord, which he didn't do with Lucas.
I was too afraid the first time.
So he got a second shot at it, which is great. And as soon as you were born and you were crying, Grandma got there. She could hear you crying from down the hall. She was really mad at Papa because he insisted that he had to stop at the bank on the way in, and Grandma doesn't even know why. So you were born and you were healthy, and you were crying, and you kind of laid on my chest, and we connected for a couple minutes, and you didn't have a name because Dad and I were still debating between Audrey, Olivia, and Grace. And Dad wanted Audrey, and I wanted Olivia, and Grace was our number 3 name. And so Linda said, "That's okay.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah, we'll make sure you get a name on her before she leaves the hospital, but you can take your time." And I was craving a red steak like nobody's business, and I was exhausted. And so I took a nap, got a little bite to eat, had some wonderful medication, which was wonderful. And so when I woke up, we agreed, I think, to go with the third name because we couldn't agree on the first 2. So Grace was it. And there you were. You were part of our family. So that's how you came into the world. And we're so glad you did, because you make every day better.
Happy 21st birthday.
Yes. We love you very much.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.